Some structures are so immense, so important to their world, that their story is really the story of an entire civilization. And today, we're diving into the whole lifespan of one of antiquity's most incredible stages, the Grand Theater of Ephesus.
Okay, let's just kick things off with one single number, 25,000. That's how many people this absolute beast of a theater could hold at its peak. To give you some perspective, that's more than Madison Square Garden in New York City. This was no local playhouse, folks. This was the Super Bowl stadium of the ancient world.
Just try to picture it. All of this carved right into the side of a mountain, absolutely jam-packed with 25,000 people. This theater was the thumping heart of Ephesus, a massive Roman city with 250,000 residents. This is where that city really came alive.
So how did it get to be so huge? And where did it all go? Well, in this explainer, we're going to trace its entire journey. We'll look at its incredible architecture, see how it transformed from a Greek stage to a Roman colossus, explore its role as the absolute center of Ephesian life, and then we'll follow its slow slide from all that grandeur into ruin.
All right, first let's get our bearings. We are in Ephesus, the capital city of the Roman province of Asia. This is a huge port city, a major hub for trade, for culture, for power. And right at its center, totally dominating the view, is this theater.
The first thing you notice, of course, is the cavea, that massive tiered seating area. It rose an incredible 30 meters, which is like a 10-story building, and it was split into 3 distinct sections. And you can just imagine the social dynamics here, right? The rich and powerful got the best seats down front, while everybody else was way up in the cheap seats. This wasn't just about seating. It was a perfect mirror of the rigid social classes of the Roman world.
But a giant like this doesn't just spring up overnight. Nope. What we see today is actually the end result of centuries of building and rebuilding. It's a story of evolution, from a pretty simple Greek design to an absolutely over-the-top Roman masterpiece.
So the story really begins way back in the 3rd century BCE with a much smaller Greek theater. But then Rome shows up and things start to get a lot bigger. You have these massive expansion projects under Emperors Claudius, then Nero, and finally Trajan, who finished the job. I mean, just stop and think about that. This was a project that spanned generations of rulers, a real testament to the long-term thinking and sheer ambition of the Roman Empire.
And the difference is just night and day. The original Greek design, it was functional, it was elegant, it really worked with the hillside. The Romans, though, they were all about massive scale and pure spectacle. They jacked up the seating capacity, and most importantly, they built this enormous, decorated stage building that totally transformed the whole space.
Just try to wrap your head around this thing. The stage building, or the Scena Franz, was 3 stories tall. That's 18 meters of pure architectural bling. It was this stunning backdrop just covered with intricate columns, niches that were filled with statues, and super detailed reliefs. It was designed for one reason, to blow you away, to scream Roman power and artistic genius.
So, what was it actually like here in the theater's golden age? Well, this was so much more than a place for plays. It was the civic, political, and cultural hub for the entire city. Seriously, if anything important was going down in Ephesus, it was happening right here.
And I mean everything. Of course, you had your classic Greek tragedies and comedies, but you also had huge musical competitions, big religious festivals, and official political assemblies where all the citizens would gather. And then, once the Romans were fully in charge, the entertainment, well, it took a much bloodier turn, with gladiatorial fights and even wild animal hunts.
The theater's role as this public flashpoint is actually captured perfectly in the New Testament. In the book of Acts, the local silversmiths, who made a living selling little silver shrines of the goddess Artemis, got worried that the Apostle Paul's preaching was going to kill their business, so they stirred up a mob that stormed into this exact theater, and for 2 straight hours they just chanted, "Great is Artemis of the Ephesians."
And the rise of those gladiator games actually forced them to change the architecture. They had to build a protective wall to keep the audience safe from all the carnage. And get this, nearby, archaeologists found a gladiator cemetery, and the skeletons actually show combat wounds. But here's the crazy part. They also show signs of really advanced medical care. These guys weren't just disposable fighters. They were valuable athletes, and their owners spent money to keep them alive.
But amidst all the drama and the violence, let's not forget the engineering marvel at the core of it all. The acoustics. It's incredible. Even today, if you stand in the orchestra pit and just speak in a normal voice, someone in the very last row, 30 meters up, can hear you perfectly.
No mics, no speakers, just pure architectural genius that still works after 2,000 years.
But as we all know, no golden age lasts forever. The theater's fate was completely tied to the city of Ephesus itself, and as the city began its long, slow decline, its grandest stage began to fall silent.
So what happened? Well, it wasn't just one thing. It was this slow-motion catastrophe over centuries. First, Gothic raids did a ton of damage. Then, the rise of Christianity meant all the old pagan traditions just faded away. But the killer, the real killer, was the harbor. It was the city's economic lifeline, and it slowly filled with silt from the river, cutting Ephesus off from the sea. You add in some major earthquakes and invasions, and yeah, the city was pretty much doomed.
So on the one hand, you have this image of the theater's prime, vibrant, decorated, just pulsing with life. And on the other, the stark, silent skeleton of a ruin we see today. It's such a powerful reminder of what history, nature, and just the passage of time can do.
By the 10th century, the site was totally abandoned. What was left of the population just moved up to a nearby hill. And the great theater, once the center of their world, stood empty. It became a quarry. People just came and carted off its beautiful marble and stone to use in new buildings. Its legacy was literally dismantled piece by piece.
And so we're left with this, a ghost of all that grandeur. And it really makes you wonder, right? What does it mean for a society when its biggest, most important public space, its grandest stage, finally falls silent? It's a question that just echoes across those empty stone seats, a reminder of the rise and the inevitable fall of even the greatest civilizations.